Honestly, this clip that you guys are about to watch, it is quite a funny video because I love the fact that black people are now waking up and realizing exactly how they need to be answering these people. Because let it make sense to this beautiful damsel sitting here that a white woman left all her white folks east, west, north, and south, but grabbed a particular black lady, kept that lady there, started interviewing her. Now, the lady was kind of trying to answer her in a very nice way, as educated as black people are, but she kept asking questions that would make the lady say something abstract, something shocking. But to her greatest surprise, this girl kept doing the Lord's work, answering her accordingly. She never said that I am not going to answer. She never said, get out of my face. She was just, I so much love this black lady, honestly. Black people, watch this video and learn. I saw one particular comment where someone actually said, typed in my comment section that another racist channel. Anyways, we'll address that at the end of this video. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Thank you so much to every one of you liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. I love you guys. You guys are the best. Mwah. With that being said, let's dive right into this video, and I'll be back with commentaries.
You think Trump's doing a good job? No? Why not?
Personally, I would just say no. I mean, I don't even know how he got into office in the first place.
Because the Americans wanted him.
So they say. But who knows? Maybe they did vote him in.
I think they did. Who do you think voted him in?
It could have been foul play, and they could have very well voted him in, but it is what it is at this point.
Do you have any policies that you disagree with?
Of Trump's? I mean, it's basically most of them.
Which one?
The one that allows them to have kids dying in camps and
Whoa.
separated from their parents.
That's
I'm
not
sure
Trump's
we've all seen
policy. He ended that policy.
Yeah, but it's still happening, right?
Nope. Trump ended that policy.
Yeah, but it's happening today. Like, we see the videos every day of kids in the blankets in facilities without soap, without clean clothes, without shoes. We've all seen the videos.
From the Obama administration. Those videos are from the Obama administration.
It's still happening today. Okay.
Where do you get your news from?
The internet.
Any particular site?
Google. Google News.
All right. Google has been trying to influence the election lately, saying that they will not allow Trump to be elected again. So they're going to filter out
I don't think he
responses.
should be in office in the first place.
Do you think Google should step in and try to do something to make sure people's search
Google
results?
is their own company with their own agenda, regardless.
Do you support them meddling in the election?
I mean, Google's gonna do what they want to do.
Do you support
they're a
it?
superpower. I mean, what I support doesn't matter. They're
Would
gonna
you
do
be
what they
okay
wanna
with Google meddling to make sure Trump doesn't win in 2020?
do. I mean, whatever it takes to get him out of office. Honestly,
Even meddling in the election?
it's not the first time it's ever happened in U.S. history.
But why should we continue to support it? You want Trump out that bad,
I'm not supporting anything. I'm saying they're gonna do what they do regardless of my support.
and you're okay with it?
I mean, that's the way of the world.
No, it's not.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Big tech has only become a problem in the last 5 years, and now that Trump
right
won,
now, they're a superpower.
and now that Trump, yeah, so should we do something about the meddling in the election, saying that they will make sure Trump doesn't win, and they will filter search results and put down certain
If we're
content?
being ethical here, things should be fair.
Yes.
But a lot of things are not fair. That's the way of the world.
Okay, well, very good. And I guess it's the way of the world that Donald Trump is your president, right?
It's not
Maybe
my
we should
president.
accept.
I didn't
Oh,
vote- I didn't vote in it.
oh, but are you a citizen? So he is your president, right?
I don't claim them.
Okay, well, I don't claim to be a taxpayer, so I'm not going to be paying for the illegal immigrants that these people want to pay for and their free healthcare. So, good job. I like that logic. I identify as a non-taxpayer, so government, you can't take my taxes. Thank you for that tip. I do appreciate it. I hope it works out. Thank you so much. To illegal immigrants in this country.
Yeah,
Why?
because they come here, they work just as hard as anybody else.
Illegal immigrants?
Yeah,
Okay.
just harder than anybody else.
Okay, so they work harder. So what about the American citizens who work that would have to pay for their free health care from
At the
taxes?
end of the day, they're still doing jobs regardless that nobody else is doing. So if you factor that, and they're still stimulating the economy, so there's really no reason to not.
And the taxpayers who would be paying for their free health care is also stimulating the economy.
Yeah.
Do you think it's fair to make me or make my fiance pay for an illegal immigrant's free health care?
Well, that's not even a thing right now. So are you saying like,
Every single candidate up on the stage for the Democratic debates
right, but why
raise
would you
their
let people
hand.
die in the street?
Well, that's not what's happening.
I mean, I'm saying essentially. You're
Well,
saying we should
dying
let
in the,
people die
street, that's not what I'm saying. No, absolutely not. When did I say that?
So you're saying because they're illegal, they don't deserve health care.
They don't deserve free health care from America. I don't think that, no.
Right, but who gets that? Nobody.
Because it's not a right in this country. No one should get free health care.
I think people should not have to die in the street. I think free health care should be a thing.
So should we give free health care to the American citizens who are homeless instead of the illegal immigrants who aren't citizens?
I think we shouldn't let people die in the street.
I agree with you. I don't think that's happening.
Right.
Where is that happening at?
There's a lot of people that don't go to the hospital simply because of too high medical bills. There's a lot of people that can't afford health insurance or their jobs don't have benefits. There's American citizens
So
today
should we?
that work.
Yeah, good point. American citizens.
I think we shouldn't let people die in the street. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Even if it would cost me money out of my pocket, we should give free health
Regardless,
care.
the money that people are paying taxes is not going to the things that they say they're going to. We all know that these politicians are lining their pockets.
So why should we raise our taxes in support of free health care if, by your words, it's not going there?
Regardless, it's not going to where it's supposed to be.
So we shouldn't fund free health care.
If we do get to a common goal to where we're helping people not have to die in the street or be sick, then so be it.
You
It
keep
is what
saying
it is.
dying in the street. Where
Yes.
do you see people dying in the street?
There's people laying down the street right now.
Are they illegal immigrants dying from
No,
lack
I
of free
mean,
health care?
I know. I mean, it's regular people. But
Okay.
for example, if somebody got sick or got cancer, like they should be taken care of regardless.
Okay. I agree with you. I agree that they should be taken care of, but is it my responsibility to fund their health care?
I think it should be the government's responsibility.
Where does the government get money to do all this?
Of course, the taxpayers, but they should be using the money more responsibly, as we all know they are not.
Okay. So maybe we shouldn't be giving them money.
Yeah, people should definitely pay their taxes.
Oh, okay. So we should pay taxes, even though you recognize that the taxes aren't being used responsibly.
Right. Yeah, I suggest better legislation and better government.
Okay. Who would you vote for to put in a better system?
None of them.
Okay.
Undisputed fact. A fact that under the Biden administration, illegal aliens were absolutely receiving taxpayer-funded healthcare benefits. In fact, in fiscal year 2024, Medicaid costs for emergency services for illegal immigrants skyrocketed by 142% from the previous year to $9.1 billion. That's nine.
So I think it's time we have a conversation about what emergency Medicaid is and isn't, because every time I hear Republicans speak about it, it's just wildly inaccurate and misleading. And I don't know if that's by design or not. And this is going to be a bit of a longer video, so if you're in a rush, just press up here for 2x speed, okay? So first of all, I tried to find where Caroline Levitt got those numbers from in her video, and I couldn't find it. I did a pretty extensive search, but if someone has it, if she has it, feel free to link them in the comments down below. I'd love to read more about it. But the closest thing I could find was this. And it was this memo referencing a Congressional Budget Office report looking at the emergency Medicaid spending from fiscal year 2017 to fiscal year 2023, and they broke them into two distinct time periods. the one under the Trump-Pence administration and the one under the Biden-Harris administration. What they found was that in the Biden-Harris administration, the spending was 124%, not 142% higher than it was during the same time period under the Trump-Pence administration. And what Caroline Levin didn't do was put those numbers into perspective, because in fiscal year 2023, emergency Medicaid spending made up just 0.4% of the nearly $1 trillion Medicaid budget, so a very small percentage. And she also didn't mention that the majority of that emergency Medicaid spending, 80% of it, usually goes to treating pregnancy and childbirth. And again, she left out a lot of nuance and context, maybe because she was in a rush in her little speech. But what she didn't mention was that Congressional Budget Office analysis, and all of them looking at emergency Medicaid spending, looks at emergency Medicaid spending for non-resident aliens. So that isn't just undocumented immigrants, those are also immigrants who are here legally, like refugees and asylum seekers and certain people on visas who, because there's a waiting period before they're eligible for federal benefits, if something goes wrong, they need to have emergency Medicaid while they wait. And because that's just a fiscal analysis, they don't actually go into any of the medical or healthcare reasons as to why emergency Medicaid spending might have increased in the later years of that analysis, the Biden years. Because during that time period, especially like 2021 to 2024, the complexity and the acuity of cases we were seeing come to the emergency room was a lot higher, mainly because of the pandemic. So basically, people were a lot sicker. Their cases were a lot more complex. And complex, sick patients just require more resources and therefore more money to take care of them. And that also causes longer wait times in the emergency room, because that requires more care. They board in the ER longer while they're waiting for hospital beds. So a lot of that stuff Caroline Levitt left out, and you can see when you leave out that nuance and detail, you can sort of just spin the numbers any way you want. And then also, just to like explain what emergency Medicaid is and isn't, I think the best way, rather than just going into this like long, boring definition, I'm just going to give you an example of something that like I would see as a hospitalist. So let's say you're an undocumented immigrant and you come to the hospital with an emergency. Let's say you're having a heart attack. We already know that the hospital cannot turn you away just because you're an undocumented immigrant. That is against the law. We talked about EMTALA multiple times before. So you will be seen in the emergency room, evaluated, your heart attack will be diagnosed and treated, you'll go to the cath lab, they'll put a stent in, you'll spend a few days in the hospital getting stabilized and recovering, and then you'll be discharged. And during your hospitalization, like a social worker or caseworker will come with a form for emergency Medicaid. Now, you will only qualify for emergency Medicaid if you would have otherwise qualified for regular Medicaid, save for your documentation status. Because remember, undocumented immigrants are ineligible for Medicaid. But if you would have otherwise satisfied the requirements, namely the income requirements, then you can apply for emergency Medicaid, which, as the name suggests, only covers your emergency and nothing else. Then I, as the doctor, would have to fill out the form attesting to the nature of your emergency and how long it took to treat and stabilize your emergency, and then to provide all the documentation for that. And then that form gets sent to the state and the federal government, because remember, the state and federal government, they share the cost of Medicaid, and that includes emergency Medicaid spending. And if, upon review, the emergency satisfies the requirements of both the state and federal government, then the hospital will be retroactively reimbursed for the emergency care they provided for that undocumented person. But that is where the coverage ends. So when the person leaves the hospital, that's it. They don't have any more coverage. So let's say that undocumented immigrant who had a heart attack also developed ischemic cardiomyopathy. Now they have heart failure as a result of that. They have a chronic medical condition from their heart attack. And now they're on like 6 or 7 new medications. And they were discharged with a bunch of follow-up for cardiologists and rehab and PT. And they have a lot of prescriptions that they have to fill. And they have a lot of imaging and testing that they have to get done as an outpatient. They have no coverage for that. Because remember, they don't have Medicaid because they're not eligible for that. And the emergency Medicaid doesn't cover the post-emergency care. They have to piece together some way to do that for themselves. They have to pay out of pocket, they have to do some sort of sliding scale, and certain states, like New York and California, do extend their state Medicaid benefits to cover post-emergency care, but that's state benefits, not federal benefits. And the real kicker is that if that undocumented immigrant now suffers a complication from not being able to have post-emergency care, like their stent closes up because they can't take their medications to keep it open, or they have a heart failure exacerbation because they don't have their diuretics, and they wind up back in the emergency room, that is a new emergency that now qualifies for emergency Medicaid. But, you know, this again is this obsession with undocumented immigrants being able to access emergency care is like the Republican obsession because they're blaming the government shutdown on it. But I have not heard Republicans talk about the alternative, because as a doctor I see, a couple of things happening. One is that you just get rid of emergency Medicaid, right? It is no longer a thing, so an undocumented immigrant does not have that coverage. But the thing is, they're still going to get sick, they're still going to have emergencies, they're still going to show up to the hospital because of EMTALA and because of the decent thing to do. They're going to get treated, right? So that just means that hospitals are going to have these huge uncompensated costs, and that is just going to put a strain on hospitals financially, and everyone's going to suffer as a result. Or you just put a stipulation in EMTALA and say that undocumented immigrants are ineligible to be covered. They're exempt from EMTALA, in which case you're going to put us, healthcare workers, in a very, very difficult position of having to document or prove someone's documentation status before treating their emergency, in which time, while we're waiting for that verification, they very well could die. And it's not just going to be undocumented immigrants who are going to suffer. It's going to be everyone, because I don't know a lot of people who actually carry their proof of citizenship with them. So that's going to be a problem. But this was already a long video, so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. But if you guys have any more questions, if you want any more clarification on this, feel free to drop a question in the comments, and I'll be happy to address them as I see them. Have a great day.
So Sunshine asked, can I do one about the myth that all undocumented people are coming to the United States to take advantage of the welfare programs that American citizen taxpayers are pouring money into? And it would be my personal pleasure. So in the United States, an undocumented immigrant cannot qualify for any government assistant program with a case opened up in their name. So they do not qualify for cash aid, temporary assistance to needy families, aid to families with dependent children, nor food stamps. However, a pregnant undocumented immigrant will still qualify for full Medicaid benefits, which we call Medi-Cal here in the state of California. As long as she is pregnant with a child she intends to give birth to in the United States, we protect the health of the illegal immigrant mother for the sake of protecting the health of the American citizen child that she's carrying. Now, after she gives birth, that American citizen child will be entitled to Medi-Cal or Medicaid benefits up until they turn 21 years of age. After she gives birth, the mother can take the child over to the welfare office and apply for food stamps. But she's not applying in her own name. She's applying in the name of the child. In the state of California, one person qualifies for a maximum benefit of $281 per month in food stamp benefits. Two people qualify for a maximum benefit amount of $516 in food stamps. The mother will only get the $281 because her name is not allowed to be on the case since she's undocumented. So all of those food stamps are specifically for the child. Now, is that how they're going to be spent? No, but that is the reality of the situation. The child is an American, and therefore the child qualifies for benefits. The same cannot be said when it comes to WIC benefits, though, the Women, Infants, and Children coupons. As long as the mother is a nursing mother, WIC does not care about her immigration status. They're going to give her food coupons so that she can continue to afford the staple items like milk, eggs, bread, fruits and vegetables, fruit juice, cereal, so on and so forth. And they're also going to give the child coupons so that the child can have formula. Let's say, for example, if the mother is doing half breastfeeding, half formula, and then baby food when the time comes around. Now, undocumented immigrants cannot apply for welfare benefits, but those who are here on a work visa, student visa, or permanent residency card can, as long as they pay those benefits back at a later time.
59% of illegal aliens
Cite your source. Provide proof that backs your claims. I know you won't, because there are none. But you keep tap dancing and spewing right-wing lies. Not all skin folk is kinfolk. You should be embarrassed.
Illegal immigrants are stealing SNAP and Medicaid benefits from the American people. No, they're not. DHS does a complete background check of all individuals before they get SNAP, welfare, Medicaid, any of the social services. So if there are any illegal immigrants on Medicaid or SNAP programs right now, it's because DHS, Kristi Noem, the garden gnome, hasn't done her job correctly and completed the background checks that are required to be able to receive any benefits. That's the problem that Republicans don't want you to know, that every single applicant to any of the social services that are now being cut off to American people are required to complete a complete background check that is conducted by the Department of Homeland Security. So if there are any illegal immigrants on SNAP or Medicaid right now, it's because Homeland Security hasn't done its job. When have you ever seen Homeland Security not do his job? Oh, I don't know, the Texas floods, the wildfires, all of these times that FEMA should have been shut out and sent out immediately that were sat around waiting for 72 hours for approval by Kristi Noem is an example of the fact that the Republican Party are lying about the Democrats so that the Republicans feel good about keeping food, benefits, and medical assistance away from children, veterans, the homeless, the mentally ill of this country, and you're falling for it instead of actually asking the questions that need to be asked. Share this with more people, help educate as many people as possible, because the lies have to stop now.
Documented immigrants in the United States cannot receive health insurance from Obamacare, from Medicaid, from Medicare. They are barred from doing so. And if you tell me, oh, but I know my tia, I primo, they're doing that illegally. That is illegal. Okay? And the Republicans, all of the maggots, are saying that Democrats didn't want to vote on the spending bill that would have kept the government open because they're dying on the hill of giving health care to illegals. No, the reason the government is shutting down is because the Democrats refused to join a vote on the spending bill that would keep the government open or would reopen it at this point. Why? Because MAGA wants to gut healthcare in this country for millions of people, even more than they already have. So what happens now? Hundreds of thousands of people in this country are furloughed, right? Federal workers are furloughed, meaning they are given unpaid leave. And whenever the government ramps back up, they're going to come back to work. And aside from that, there are many other people who work in very essential jobs. For example, like air traffic control people. They are working right now with no pay. And they're going to have to wait until all of this is sorted out to be able to receive retroactive pay. So no, Democrats aren't to blame. We have a Republican-controlled House, Senate, Supreme Court, presidency. They are in full control of what is happening in this country right now. And if they don't want to solve these things, the least Democrats can do is do this as protest. Force them to come to the table to make concessions on these topics that need concessions to be made. I actually have a good example of how healthcare works with undocumented immigrants. Stick with me. An uncle of mine lived here in the US, in Miami specifically, for many, many years. And one day he had a really, really gruesome workplace accident. We thought he quite literally died, right? He fell off a roof. And it was so bad that when they called the ambulance, the Jackson helicopter from Jackson Memorial Hospital here in Miami, they came to pick him up and took him all the way to Ryder Trauma. They did emergency surgery on him. They stabilized him, all that. Thankfully, he's still alive, right? He's living in Honduras now. But the thing is, that's all, right? They only stabilize people who are undocumented here in the US. If they want to get more healthcare, more, attention, medical attention, they need to either pay out of pocket or be in some kind of life or death situation where an ambulance or a doctor is not going to be like, oh, wait, you're undocumented? Yeah, let me not save your life because you're an illegal. That's not how things work, at least for now, in the United States. So yeah, if you are directly or indirectly affected, which I think we all are, by a government shutdown, you know who to blame. It's MAGA, it's Trump, and it's the Republican Party.
The majority of people benefiting from food stamps and welfare aren't even American citizens. 40 million people are set to lose their SNAP benefits with the government shutdown, and so leftists online are taking to their platforms and saying, well, now kids in red states aren't going to be able to eat. How do you like them apples? Except it's not really a genuine argument when you're lying, is it? You can very clearly see, according to a 2022 CIS.org study, 59% of illegals in America are currently benefiting from the welfare system, which includes things like Medicare and Medicaid.
Lock in, fuck niggas. We about to fact check this shit. First, if you fuck with me, check out the podcast. Let's get it. What the hell is he talking about? Yeah, the only person that's lying is you. If you did your research, you realize that graph you showed is low-key lying. First of all, that study actually comes from the Center of Immigration, which is an all-right think tank that's against immigration. That's not why I'm calling the organization a liar. No, this organization took an old study that they did in 2023 and repackaged it for 2025. And the way they changed it is by changing non-citizens headed households to illegal immigration households. But unlike some people, I actually read the original work. And in the original study, they mentioned that the non-citizen households represented green card holders and undocumented migrants. The next slide they use is the actual source, or the SIPP. The SIPP stands for the Survey of Income and Program Participation. And this is a survey to determine how many people are a part of different types of programs. These programs are not just Medicaid or food stamps, but they're also factoring in Social Security, scholarships, and free breakfast programs. I mean, at this point, are you guys even trying anymore?
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and that is all the clips I got for this video. Like I said, this woman or this lady, whatsoever she can identify herself as, a white palm colored person, as far as I'm concerned, left every single person that she needed to interview. She wanted to test the smart knowledge of a black lady, and she really got exactly what she was looking for, because this lady did not go abstract. This lady was just giving her exactly what it is, eating her thing. I love that crunchy sound. Oh my god, she was just making it look like, you see this thing you're asking, I don't care about it, but because you want answers, I'm going to be giving you answer in a very polite and respectful manner. And this was so beautiful to watch, because one thing I've noticed about these white folks is they try their possible best to create a scenario that will make we blacks top out of points, or that will make us that will make them see us as racist. Coming back to what I said, I'm going to address. Someone dropped in my comment section, and the person said racist channel. So I don't know how black people are actually racist, because I feel like a lot of people cannot literally just mind their business and see what they actually want to watch and just watch, or if you don't want to watch, you move ahead for another person to watch. Let it make sense to me that the only comment that this person would drop, instead of applauding me for doing my possible best to stand up for my black people, he said this is actually a racist channel. So let me know as you're watching, because I can't remember that black people can actually be racist, especially for someone like me that live in a country where we are predominantly blacks, right? Anyways, guys, let's get back into this video, and let's forget about the racist comments, right? So anything that is literally happening right now, MAGA's people are to be held responsible. That's just the honest truth. They should stop claiming that a lot of people that are enjoying the SNAP benefit, and why that SNAP benefit actually was stopped was because there are people from the illegal immigrant angle. That is what a lot of them claim. And at the end of the day, they're not even considering their own folks that are supposed to feed. They're not even considering what can we do now. That is what a lot of them should be thinking about. Why am I even saying they should be thinking about that? At the end of the day, there is nothing literally that they can do now, because as it stands, it is just like a block road for them. That's just the honest truth. It is like the block road for them. These people will literally not respect their self and stay one place. So next time when you see that lady, tell her that I said she should look for her white folks and interview them if they can be this intelligent to answer exactly the way this black lady actually answered. I just love being black. I don't know. Everything that comes about it, I think it's beautiful. Everything that comes about being black is wow. Everything that comes about being black, it's so precious as far as I'm concerned. Because that is why I keep saying that if as a white person something happened and you don't really understand where that is actually coming from, the first thing you need to do is to look up for a black person and ask the person, what do you think I should do about this? How does this really goes, and so on and so forth, so that you can be enlightened and so that you don't end up making huge mistakes. because that is what is keeping us where we are today. Anyways, this video is just for educational purpose. Let me know what you think. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you have not subscribed, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comment, and lastly, do not forget to share. And I stand a chance to be corrected, right? 100%. I am not perfect. I'm just here airing out my unopinionistic opinion, like I always said. And I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you supporting, liking, commenting, subscribing. I really do not take you guys for granted. For those who sending super thanks, God super duper bless you. And I just love you from the depth of my heart, right? Mwah. Anyways, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And yes, with no further ado, I do like I always say in my videos. I'm going to be saying, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.